first become aware that there was something special about the Holy Spirit and what the Holy Spirit could do in your life and in the church?
I think for me, it was an Alpha course. Dave and I, who's my husband now, we took an Alpha course before we were married. And on the Holy Spirit weekend, I was prayed for and I experienced the infilling of the Holy Spirit. And I had never experienced that before. I knew a little bit about him and about what he did and about, but I had never actually experienced him personally. And that was the first time. And I had a beautiful experience of the presence of the Holy Spirit that I hadn't experienced before and have never really felt the same way since. I've felt other things, but not exactly that. So do you want me to tell you all about what happened then?
Yes.
Sure. Okay. During that weekend on the Alpha course, when I went for prayer, I was kneeling and the leader prayed for me to be filled with the Spirit. And I experienced heat. And it started in my toes and worked its way very systematically up my body until it got to about here. And then it stopped. There was a line right across here. And from here up, I was average temperature. And from here down, I was on fire. And it wasn't painful, but it was so distinct. It was an absolute heat that I could not explain. And that was my experience of the Holy Spirit. And it stayed with me, for ages afterwards. And I just felt so peaceful and joyful. And the following week, after the weekend, the Alpha weekend, I went around my workplace practically skipping. I had to stop myself from skipping in the hallways because I just had this joy bubbling up that I just couldn't contain. And I smiled at everyone and I was just, I'm sure I was insufferable, but I had to physically keep myself from skipping in the hallways. I remember that because I just felt this joy and it was amazing. It really was. And I haven't experienced that since, but I have experienced heat in my hands when I pray for people. And the joy that just bubbles up once in a while. So that was my experience of the Holy Spirit, my first one. And yeah.
Could you identify as a result of that experience or during that experience anything in the list of gifts, particularly in 1 Corinthians 12? The gifts, the words of knowledge or wisdom or tongues or discernment. Did anything particular or specific rise up?
Those particular gifts, the gifts of tongues, healing, miracles, words, that kind of thing, I don't really experience those as much. I've prayed several times and had people pray over me for the gift of tongues and have not yet received. I'm not stopping praying, but I have not yet received that. I have experienced other people receiving healing during prayer sessions. And again, I experienced the heat, and I think they may be related somehow. When I pray for people and put hands on people, sometimes they experience the heat that I felt, and that's a wonderful thing for them. Words of knowledge are rare for me. I think I'm just not listening very well, but words of knowledge are rare. But in prayer sessions, when I'm praying, with people, for people, I have received words for them. But again, it's rare. It's not a thing that I can just do or call on regularly. It's an experience that comes through the prayer session, and it's great when it happens. It really is. And the remarkable thing was that when I received something during the prayer session, it would often be repeated by the other prayer partner in a different way. I would receive just an idea of something happening, and then they would get the picture or the voice or something that would go with it. And that has been amazing during our prayer sessions when I receive those ideas that are then like, yes, I just saw that in a vision. And it gives me shivers.